it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're trying all new Chanel makeup. I know everyone's doing a review on this stuff, but I'm gonna do one too. So I have the Beiges Water Fresh Complexion Touch. This is a concealer version of the Water Fresh tint. This is the foundation, been around for a couple years now. Here's the more concentrated concealer version. You can see the pigment suspended in the serum there, and it's a lot more concentrated than the foundation pigments. Also, they look like very different colors. So we're gonna try this out today. Also, I picked up the blush version, the Water Fresh blush in light pink. So all about complexion today with Chanel. Starting with product details, here is the box packaging of the Complexion Touch. Right here, this is a 20 milliliter 0.7 fluid ounce concealer. It says you can use this as a foundation if you want. You can put it in specific areas. It's supposed to be more coverage, and this looks like a lot of product for a concealer, but remember there is a serum. So this is like a hybrid makeup product, skincare benefits and makeup all in one. It's all very light and watery. I have the shade BR12. I'm cool toned, so I tried to pick a cool toned version of this. This has a lot more shades than the Water Fresh tint. I just got the shade light. This is why they look very different, because this isn't technically that great of a match for me. The blush, this is 15 milliliters of product, 0.5 fluid ounces. So that's a lot of product to me for a blush, half an ounce. Most skincare products are an ounce, so it's half of that. And it's the same idea as these Water Fresh complexion products. It's a very light, airy blush color. So here's the box packaging, pretty simple, and I got the shade light pink. The concealer comes with this little small brush. Yes, I did use it already. It has the CCs on the end, and it's very tiny and sculpted and a little bit slanted and pointy, but that comes with it, so that's pretty nice. In case you guys are curious, the Water Fresh foundation also came with a brush, very similar, but this one's a lot larger. Also, so the CCs on the bottom. The blush did not come with a brush. Not sure why, but I would think you would need some sort of brush to apply it, but you know, some people apply all this stuff with their fingers. I struggle doing that because it's hard to break up the little pigments with just your hands. So I got these products from Chanel.com. The prices are on there. Complexion Touch. This is a very expensive concealer, but I would argue you get a lot of product. This is $65, more than a lot of foundations out there for a concealer. The blush, this is $50. A lot of money for a liquid blush, but again, I'd argue you get a lot of product. There are some skincare benefits in there. Just saying. So the blush, it looks like a lot of the shades are sold out right now, but I'm sure this will all come back in stock. I know this Water Fresh stuff is very popular right now. If enough people like it, I'm sure they will restock it. A lot of these shades are already sold out, but there are 6 shades of the blush, 16 shades of the concealer. There's only 8 shades of the foundation. So I think they made a good choice by making this available in more specific and more shades. So let's get into swatches. I'm gonna throw up the swatches of both the concealer and the blush. So those swatches I applied in a thick manner because just a thin layer of both of these products, it was actually really hard to see the color, especially the concealer, because it blended into my skin pretty well, almost became invisible. So I layered up, did a few pumps. So that's an exaggerated view of the color. I wanted to show you more of the color rather than what it actually looks like on the skin. That's like a concentrated swatch, and it does look a little bit dark. But I tried both of these products yesterday for the first time just to kind of get a wear test. I'll let you know the results of that later after we apply together, but it looks better on the skin when you apply it normally than in the swatches. So I just wanted to give you a better sense of the colors. It's just a little bit hard to see if you do one thin layer. But before we get started into application, I wanted to compare the foundation to the concealer on my hands so you guys can see, you know, coverage differences, because this is a regular foundation, a little bit more sheer. This is a very sheer product in general, but I would say it's a lot more sheer than the concealer. So I'm going to use the brush to show you how this works. You use the brush as friction to break up the little pigment balls, and then you get some very light watery coverage. Water Fresh is a good name for it because it is very serum and water-like. Very light coverage. Because it's skincare, I don't find this to be a super buildable complexion foundation product because it just becomes too wet. And I don't know, it's just, to me, if you want a light layer of foundation, you just apply one light layer. It doesn't really make sense to build up coverage for this. So that is what the foundation looks like in the light shade. Some natural lighting here. It blends into the skin very well, even though this isn't like a perfect match. Like once you blend it out, it works well enough. Now the concealer over here, much more concentrated, but very, in terms of pigment, but very much the same sort of texture, maybe a little less runny, probably because there's more pigment in here. But I'm going to use this brush. As I said, like, hard to see this one. So hard to see, oh yeah, it's more coverage. But trust me, there is. So I'm going to do another pump just so you guys can see. Hard to do this backwards here. Can you guys tell? I think you can tell a little bit that it's a little bit better coverage, but just slightly, you know, not a huge difference. But because of the shade range is better, I think people will honestly just use this version as a foundation because it doesn't really scream, oh yeah, it's a concealer. Like, I don't really understand, but people can use makeup however you want. You can put this all over the face. That's what I did yesterday. So that's the comparison side by side. All right, let's get into application. Here's what I'm gonna do. You might think, well, why would you apply a concealer all over your face? Well, I think I just showed you I'm not gonna use this as a concealer. I'm gonna probably use this as a replacement for this because it has more pigment. This is a little bit too light for me. I mean, you see I have used it somewhat, you know, it used to be down here, but it's not my to-go lightweight foundation just because it's a little bit finicky to apply. You have to use the brush. Also, it's just not quite enough coverage. So I'm gonna just use this all over. I think you'll see why I'm going to do that because I don't see it really as a concealer, but some of you may. I'm just gonna apply it that way. I have skincare and sunscreen on. I'm not gonna use a primer. We're pretty much dry, so I don't expect any issues. Let's get into this. I am gonna use the little brush because that is what comes with it. But it says you're supposed to put this on the back of your hand. I'm gonna use 3 pumps here. Swirl this around to break up the pigment. And then I'm gonna apply this to the face. So here we are. Let's get a little bit closer. Have my mirror here, and I'm just gonna paint streaks. This is generally how I apply the other Water Fresh Complexion product. And just kind of thinly go all over. This is not really how I apply makeup. I have to do it with this way with this product and the other Water Fresh product. This brush is really tiny for all over, in my opinion. I feel like most people that use foundation brushes use something larger, but this is intended to be a concealer, so that's why it's small. But I do have to say this gives a lot more coverage than the foundation. But if you love the Water Fresh tint, you love how barely there coverage it has, but you want a little bit more, you like the idea of using both and using this as a concealer, it makes sense that this is also light. So these do kind of go together. I just don't know if I can see myself doing that. So here we are. Now if you already have the Water Fresh tint, you could for sure use the bigger brush with this concealer product. So I'm gonna go ahead and transfer to the bigger brush to help blend this out a little bit faster. So I have a lot of redness, some blemishes, textured skin. So I like a little bit more than this is giving, but it is reducing most of my redness, just overall my general redness, which I'm liking. How lightweight it is, I find the product annoying to apply. It's evening out my complexion, which is the goal, right? Doesn't work well applying with the fingers and blending out with the fingers. It just doesn't look super pretty when I do that. I always have issues with my nose, so I'm probably gonna go over this with a damp sponge. So here we have one ready. So I wore this all day yesterday to work to try it for the first time. I liked how it improved my complexion. I looked better than I did without makeup, but I didn't spend a lot of time blending it in, and I didn't do this at the end. So at the end of the day, it was a hot day, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and foundation was caught up very unevenly on my nose, that I could see like, ooh, there's foundation here and here, but it wasn't evenly over my whole nose. So that wasn't pretty. I did powder my face too. I didn't just go out without powder, but I still had that issue. Now I was wearing a mask, taking it on and off, so that probably helped clump up the concealer on the end of my nose, but still, I've had kind of issues with this Water Fresh line before with the regular foundation, and even though this has more coverage, I'm kind of seeing the same issues right here where it just doesn't lay down as nicely on the pores. And I think it's because of the serum medium that this pigment is in. It just doesn't work like most makeup. So I have a little bit of a complaint about this line. I have in the past mixed the foundation with other things and that works fine, but you guys see this texture around my mouth? That's because I have hair on my face. You know, if you have a little bit too much product, it just doesn't stick. So I don't know if other people have these kind of very picky, finicky thoughts, that this kind of happens with very light skincare like complexion products, is they're not as light and easy breezy as I want them to be. You know, I'm getting pigment stuck in my pores. It doesn't look bad. Overall, I think probably most people will be happy with this. I think this is an improved product because it has more coverage. Just slightly, you know? I think at the end of the day, most people will be just fine. But, so that's the application of the concealer. So this is BR12. What do you guys think? Let's just try to use this as a concealer under the eyes. All right, a little bit more. Little baby pump, little brush. Let's go under the eyes now. let's do this as intended. Little spot treatment. I don't know, with this brush, like, it's hard to not get, you know, streaky. I mean, it's a little bit more coverage, but I don't know. What do you guys think of this as a true concealer product? It doesn't work as a concealer product for me. I don't know why these light texture products make my skin look more textury. I don't know, I probably need silicone or something to fill out my pores. A little bit finicky. I mean, it's fine. It's not a home run for me. I don't think you guys need to run out and get it now. Just first impressions on this one. I don't know that my opinion's really gonna change much, but it's fine. We tried it. It's cool. I will try to use it in future, you know, Chanel centered videos, because I know you guys appreciate seeing things more than once. Let's get into this light pink little blush here. On the back of the hand again. There's one drop, you guys. See? When you start blending it out, it becomes, you know, pretty sheer, so harder to see as a swatch. But I'm gonna kind of blending this in to break up that pigment, and I'm gonna put it on the cheeks with my fingers. This is a warm pink, so you guys know. It's very sheer and natural, just like the rest of the Water Fresh tint line. But this light layer is almost invisible. But let's put on some more. And I'll try to go in with another layer so we can see what this can do. And I will try to use a brush now. So that is one layer of light pink. A little bit of something, right? So just a little bit of something. I don't think this is, I put this on yesterday. It didn't really last all day, like not at all. But you know, most people touch their face, they wear a mask, or I don't know, it's just one of those so light that it's gonna easily absorb into the skin. But you know, even with a powder over it, I didn't notice it really at the end of the day. So that's that. Let's put a little bit more, another layer. And this time I'm going to use a brush. This is the Sonia G Mini Base. Okay, a little bit more color there. Like in person, definitely more color, more pink, but still, you know, that's very, very natural pink color. I don't want to rub too much with this brush because I feel like I'm gonna take off the foundation. So just kind of stippling. But the second layer definitely helped bring out the color a lot more. That's pretty. If you want a really light makeup look, you're doing errands, the blush absolutely matches the aesthetic of the rest of the line, that it's very light and natural. So I think this is a win if you like this type of makeup. I don't know that this is necessarily the line for me. This Water Fresh line is for me, but I think it looks pretty. I'm sure a lot of you can relate, and I realize my background's getting really dark, but I probably this is it. These are the two products on my face. What do you guys think? I'm gonna take some close-up photos and then I'll share my final first impression thoughts. All right, so you saw the final look. It's not bad. Overall, I think most people think I'm probably being overly harsh. I totally get that, but you know, I review a lot of makeup and not everything is how I want it. Okay, so final first impression thoughts. First of all, the pigment is increased, so there is more coverage. I'm happy about that. I don't think this Water Fresh collection is for me, to be honest. It's really light. Some people love that aesthetic. I like a light complexion, but I need a little bit more even coverage, and this accentuates texture on my skin. Now that you could say that's a me problem, that my skin isn't right, I totally get that. For some people, this is not going to be an issue. It's something you're probably going to have to try to see for yourself if it meets your standards. But the pigment kind of collects in certain areas of my skin, on my cheeks, on my nose in particular, and some dry areas here. Now, I put on a lot of skincare today. I thought I prepped my skin pretty well, but this is still the result, and you know, it's a little bit patchy. I didn't put any powder on. I think because there is skincare in here and I put it on top of sunscreen, there was some pilling, especially down here, and the fact that you do have to use it with a brush probably makes the texture issues worse. For me personally, I'm a sponge gal, so you know, the fact that, you know, the result is finicky, you have to really play with it in a particular way, I don't love that. But these are all my personal preferences. I don't think this product is bad. I do like that they have more shades. If I were to choose between the two, I would pick one with more coverage. I mean, you guys can see it's still really light. You see a lot of blemishes and color coming through still. It's not like it's full coverage or anything like that, but I think the coverage is better than this, and you can certainly use this as a foundation. I really wouldn't say it's a concealer at all. I think the marketing is interesting, but if you like really, really light, this makes sense still. You want even more coverage, you can use both. I personally don't think you need both, but if I were to choose one over the other, I would pick this one. If you're looking for a serum-y skincare like light coverage product, this is the one I would choose. The blush, I think it's a clean, pretty wash of color. It goes with the lightweight aesthetic. It wouldn't make sense to have a very strong, pigmented, watery blush if the rest of your face is not sort of that glam high coverage. So I think it goes with the rest of the collection very well. I don't know that I'm going to be reaching for it a lot unless I want a really low-key makeup day. And because I can't honestly apply these in a rush like I want to, because you got to rub them in with a brush. I mean, there's a lot to do in my opinion in terms of application. So those are my thoughts on it. Do you guys need this collection? I think it makes sense that it launched in the summer. A lot of people want lightweight stuff, but I don't think lightweight stuff like this really lasts very long in the summer, especially if you are sweating and all that stuff. It's not going to last. It didn't last on me yesterday, but you know, that's just kind of how it goes. You can't expect this to be an all-day 12-hour wear, waterproof. That's not what that is. It's gentle to the skin. It gives you a little coverage. That's it. So if you like that, I think this might be for you, but let me know you guys' thoughts. Are you guys planning to pick it up? The little bonus here is I got 2 fragrance samples with my order. One is the newish No. 1 de Chanel. This is a fragrance mist. So this is just really light. I don't know what a mist is, but I imagine it doesn't last long. This is, I think they only have 1 scent in this, and let's see. Yes, very, very light. I'm not sure I like this one. I don't know the point of it. It's very light. I mean, if you like a body mist, I think this is very fresh smelling, slightly floral, slightly earthy. Okay, let's move on to the other one. This is Beige, and this is an eau de parfum, so this is a actual perfume. This smells like root beer or Coca-Cola at first, and then it gets kind of herbally. Ooh, that's pretty. That's nice and light. It's not super feminine. It's more on the unisex side of things. slightly sweet. That's actually really nice, but a very Coca-Cola soda-y vibe with that one. That's different. I'm glad I got to try beige. Right, that's it for the video. Let me know about what you guys are picking up from Chanel. I know they have a few other launches, such as their powder bronzer, new shades in their cream bronzer, a shimmery body oil. Let me know what you guys are picking up. Please put some comments down below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.